little bit of delay normally, but we can kind of deal with that with the chat box and stuff.
For sure.
I'll keep an eye on that. Cool. I think we're live. Like I say, I never know. And say, hello, we're here. I'm going to check like I always do. Check on the Facebook group just to make sure, because like half the time I have no idea whether we are live or not. So I'll just chat away for a bit. So I'm going to refresh the screen and then hopefully
cool.
live. And then people can speak to us. But it's saying we're live, which is good. So if we are live, hello. And if you can hear us, just let me know in the comments that you can hear us okay, you can see us okay. You know, the usual stuff. And then we'll kick it off.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are around the world today.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So whereabouts are you based, Jonathan?
I'm in Dallas, Texas, so I had to look up the time zone converter like 6 times just to make sure. So I'm 6 hours behind you. Like I was so paranoid about that. I had to double check this time.
Exactly. I always get confused here as well because we've not too recently had daylight savings time. So we're on not GMT. So many people put GMT in thinking that's what time zone we're on. We're actually no, we're on GMT +1 now. So loads of people, if you just Google UK, it's the easiest way to do it because it gives you the right time. But most people
that's what I did.
Don't blame you at all for doing that. Cool, awesome. Well, we are definitely live now because I can see us chatting away on the Facebook group, which is awesome. Cool. Make sure people are watching. Yes, people are here, which is always good. So, first of all, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're obviously here again for another one of our lives. This one's a very special one. It's not just going to be another interview. Jonathan has kindly come on to do a training with us today and with you guys to hopefully give you lots of value, lots of insight into what he does, what his business is all about, and hopefully it's going to basically help you guys attract and enroll more fitness clients into your business through this training we're going to give you today. But before we get into that training, let's just obviously find out a bit about you. I know you've been around on the group for a while now. You keep hopping in, help answering questions and stuff, offering some great value to the people inside the group already. But could you just tell us a bit about yourself, so what your background is and kind of how your journey has been so far?
Yeah, for sure, Ash. So I've been in the health and fitness space for about 10 years. Started as a personal trainer on the ground level, got my degree in sports medicine, did my internship at a Gold's Gym in the country out in Virginia. And that's led to me working really through all the different levels within the organization and business models that are out there. So personal trainer to fitness manager to general manager to regional small group training manager. So I've been mainly in that space for about 5 or 6 years. And 5 years ago, I started my first online business where I really started learning the ropes of really what it takes to grow an online business on the coaching space side of things. And what we've kind of realized over that time period and through my own experiences is there's just a huge gap in what we need and what we know, right? And what I mean by that is really in the technology end of things, from websites to funnels to should I run ads to how do I run my coaching programs? There's just a lot of confusion and a lot of fluff out there. So we started Smart Shark, me and my wife, who's my business partner, which she started in the fitness space as well, which Ash, I shared a little bit with you when we had our chat a couple weeks ago. Who works as really the backbone of what we do. And we started in December 2018. And what we focus on is really working with personal trainers and fitness studio owners on how to attract their perfect client. So not just anyone who's willing to pay you money, but who's the best fit for what you do. And everything we create is attraction based, which means they come to you versus you having to chase them around all the time.
Cool. That sounds awesome and a perfect dream for most trainers, I think, to get to understand that.
Yeah, well, Ash, it's what I wanted, man. Like, there's a reason I don't have hair. Like, I used to have beautiful hair just like you, man. And I was doing things the hard way, and I had to go through all of these learning pains and growing lessons. And all I wanted was to have someone that was just interested in what I had to provide and was qualified, and I could do the rest from there. So that's really how Smart Shark started. Was we created this because this is what we wanted when we were growing up in the industry.
It's how the best things start, I always think. If instead of it being forced, it kind of naturally progresses into thinking, well, this is what I kind of wanted, this is what I need. You start creating that stuff, a demand comes, and then obviously now you can help lots of other people get the same thing that you needed as well, which is awesome. So that kind of leads us nicely on to what we're here for today, which is the training side of stuff. I know you've put a training together for everyone here today. Do you want to tell us a bit about that, or do you want to just get started and get straight into it, and then we can kind of go from there?
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely want to preface like what we're gonna do because it's definitely content rich. I've tried to break it down as simply as possible, and it's more of an overview of some of the bigger items that we talk about in terms of building a business. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll share screens, and I'll pull up the presentation and really just get into the talking points of this. Where's the reading view? Okay, cool. So Ash, when you reached out, and guys, by the way, the reason me and Ash connected is all of my clients use PTD. I didn't even know what PTD was 4 or 5 months ago. And they all came back and they're like, man, we love this software and come join the group. And I was able to see the customer service they provide, and I've got to play around with it. And that's really how we started our relationship, is just going, man, you guys have an awesome program and product, and you guys care about your members, and we're already infusing it into what we do. So why not have a conversation and see what we can do to add value to each other's member base? But anyway, Ash reached out through that conversation. It was like, hey, I was like, what do you people want? And he was like, obviously, how do we enroll more clients? I'm like, well, that makes sense. We're always looking for more clients. So I've really broken this down into 3 things, right? There's 2 things under attracting. You got to identify who you're going after, right? So it's not just about attracting anyone who will pay you money, right? If you ask enough people, someone will pay you money. I promise you that. But how do you find the right person, right? And then how do you attract them? How do you get it so they chase you versus you chasing them? And then the last part is obviously, how do you actually enroll them, right? Like the last piece, right? All that stuff's great in the beginning, but if you're not actually converting them into a client, then none of it matters. So it's really gonna be 3 big areas we're gonna get into. Cool?
Cool.
So when we get into clearly identifying clients, I want to start off first with like, who do we not want? And if you've been in fitness even for a couple of months, you're going to read off some of these and go, yep, I have one of those. I know I've had all of them.
Yeah, I'm thinking going on the list now, I can tick them all off.
Oh yeah, just like that one, that one, that one. So I've had clients that were super skeptical. Like they just challenged me on everything that I talked about. It was like pulling teeth just to get them to do the little things to actually get results. I've had the procrastinator, the person that just drags their feet. It's like they got lead in their shoes. Like no matter what you do, they take so long to get it done. Like I asked them to log their food. 6 months later, they logged their first day. It's like we talked about this 6 months ago. They're not dedicated, right? People that they'll start off for like a month or 2, and they're like, "Oh, you're doing great." And then all of a sudden they just disappear. And then you don't hear from them for a couple months. Then they circle back. It's like, I don't even know that you were still alive. I was concerned for you. You just disappeared, right? And then you get the unrealistic expectations that are like, okay, I have a trip in 30 days. I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. It's like, I can't reverse 10 years of bad decision-making in 30 days, right? I've had those. The non-compliant, people that just go, they tell you what they're going to do. I will not log my food. I will not do cardio. It's like, how's that working out for you, Mrs. Jones? Like, there's a reason we're here, right? And then my favorite, and this is what I've experienced a lot in the gym, is you get the know-it-alls. I call them ass-holes. The reason I call them an asshole, they will pick your brain for 30 minutes to an hour, whenever they can, and then they don't even apply the information. They don't do anything with it. They're like, what should I do for this? And then you take the time to share with them. They go right back to doing what they're comfortable with, right? And I'm going to get into what this type of person is. And I'm not judging them as a human being, by the way, guys. I'm not saying these are bad people. I'm just saying they're not good fitness clients, right? So you just need to understand that. And then the always price focused, the client that always wants the deal, no matter what. And it's like, oh, we got to have this talk again. I've got to figure out how to position my pricing to make you happy. And it's not conducive to a healthy working relationship, right? Yeah. So I start with the bad because now we got to get into the good, right? What do we want? It's pretty much the complete opposite of everything I just shared with you. They're bought into your process, whatever that is. If it's week 1, we do this, and week 2, we do this, all the way to week 12, or however long you're helping that person, they're bought in. They're like, I'm in, just tell me what to do. And then they execute. They do what you tell them to do. Oh my God, how crazy results come to people when they actually do what you share with them. It's crazy. And then they show up. That's one of the things I've learned, definitely being in 10 years. Like, people that show up, I have a different appreciation for you. because you're a whole different person. The fact that you chose to show up consistently means that you're going to win, right? They also understand realistically. They know that it's not going to happen overnight. They understand it's going to take time, and you're going to have months or weeks where you make a really big gain in progress, and then you're going to have a few weeks or months, maybe you're stuck and you've got to revisit the drawing board and make those tweaks to help move them along, right? Then you have the next ones, they comply with what you ask them to do, so that when you're coaching them on that process, if you're like, hey, we need to do this, they take it and they do it. They don't fight you on it, right? And then instead of being the person that's the asshole, these people ask questions, but they're not challenging. They just want to further understand so that they can go back and execute that. Two different mindsets in asking questions. I'll answer questions all day for clients as long as they're asking with the intention of applying it versus asking just to ask, right? And then last but not least, this is going to get in towards the back half of today, is they're goal focused, not price focused. So they're not asking for the deal. They're looking at the program that's going to get them the result. Whatever that cost is, that's how they make their buying decisions, right? So with that being said, let's keep on rolling through with, how do I find these clients, Jonathan? That sounds great. You got me excited. How do I find them, right? First, you've got to define who they are and where they hang out. So I'm going to use the analogy of fishing because I'm a country boy and that's where I grew up in the backwoods of Virginia, right? When you go fishing, if you want to fish for bass, you don't go to the ocean. If you want to fish for blue marlin, you don't go to a pond. So when we're on social media, why are we doing the same thing? Once again, I'm not calling people fish. Please don't take it as I'm trying to call people fish. I'm just showing you the analogy of that technique of fishing is the same idea that we're going to use on our marketing, right? So we got to know exactly who that person is and where they hang out. We also need to be able to communicate very clearly to this person or persons, what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it. And it goes down to the psychology of how people make buying decisions and how they build what's called KLT, which is know, like, and trust, which we're going to get into that as we go through today's training a little bit more. You have to clearly communicate how your offer solves their challenges, right? How does what you do solve their unique situation? And you have to get your offer and message into channels and places where they hang out. So for example, if they're not on LinkedIn, why would you spend your time on LinkedIn, right? If your clients you find are on Facebook, which 99.9% they are, that's where we need to hang out at, right? So this is getting defined on where are we going to be hanging out with our messaging, right? Now, how do I get this information, Jonathan? Well, this is one of the plays that we run. We do it personally and we do it for our clients, is we do what's called a client profile. And this is how we gather that intelligence to clearly identify who that client is and what they look like, where they hang out, and what their deepest, darkest fears are and what their goals are, all those details, which ties into everything we do. So starting off with the goals, I want to run through to give you an example. And Ash, if you want to jump in here, feel free. Cool. So with the goals portion, I'm not talking about fitness. That is assumed. If someone is meeting with you, then yes, they're going to have a fitness goal, right? What I mean by goal is what is the why behind that fitness goal? So if Mrs. Jones wants to lose 20 pounds, well, why does Mrs. Jones want to lose 20 pounds? Is it because she's had 2 or 3 kids and she's lost a little bit of her identity, her self-image, and she wants to reclaim that old fire and feeling she had before she sacrificed the last 18 years to give birth to 2 or 3 children? That would be what we would want to know, because if we can speak to that, it makes it not fair when you present fitness, because they're already knowing that they need that. Same thing was take a male. Let's say we have a dad that's been grinding and providing for his family for the last 25, 30 years. And over that time, he's accumulated a beer belly. Maybe he wants to get back to how he felt in his 20s, where he was the apex predator. He was the man, right? Once again, there's tons of different examples, but that's the level of detail you want to get into that. The values are going to be what's important to them. So is it family? Is it freedom of time? Are they really focused on their job and their career and they're really like a working professional? We got to find what's important to these people so that we can connect what we align with what they align with. So then it builds that know, like, trust at a faster rate Thus, you can move them to becoming a client a lot faster with you, right? In terms of sources of information, this is where we know where the fish. So we got to find out what information are they absorbing and where are they absorbing it. So do they read books? What kind of books? Magazines, blogs, websites, conferences, podcasts, other categories, and keep this fitness relevant, right? I had a client, I won't say their name, but they're like, yeah, I did this with my client, and they like to read Harry Potter. And I was like, that's cool, but if I try to target Harry Potter fans, I don't think you're going to like the outcome that you get with that, right? Like, that's too broad. I'm just saying, it's too broad, right? So if we could get more fitness-based, then you're going to know, okay, cool. If these people like Chris Powell, awesome. I now know I need to hang out where Chris Powell's message is at, and then I can piggyback on that same audience, right? As we get into the center category, you're just identifying more specifically, like their name, their age, are they married, do they have children, where do they live, what type of job do they have, what industry are they in, what's their annual income, education. And the really cool part with this is when you do this, it is going to blow your mind, because you are going to start seeing dots that connect that you never realized before. You might realize that 70% of your clients are school teachers. If 70% of your clients are school teachers, I think you're on to something. You should probably focus on school teachers, right?
Kind of gives you that clarity, doesn't it, about which way you should probably go, or just like getting this picture in your head.
Because when I first went on, like my business coach that I spent a lot of money to get was like, you got to be everywhere. So I was on like Pinterest and Google Plus, and you all know how Google Plus turned out. I was everywhere, but I was nowhere at the same time, right? So when you do this, it makes everything easy moving forward, because you know that that's where they're at, because you've already done your homework on that, right? With the challenges and pain points, the challenges are going to be more so about what's holding them back from getting that goal that they want. Once again, not just the fitness aspect, but the real goal that they want. I need more energy. I need more of this. I need more of X, but this is what's holding me back. The pain points are going to be, how is their life ultimately being impacted by not taking action, by not making a change? And this is how we can overcome objections before they even meet you. Imagine having a conversation with someone that's already mentally checked off their objections, and they're just there to validate that you can do what you say you can do. How much more of an awesome experience would that be for both people? Versus I've got to do the banana close and the alternative upside down, bring in the TO close, and all this nonsense out there that make people hate talking to trainers and salespeople. It's awful. So if we can do this work on the front end, you just get to be an expert at what you do, and you're the doctor just going, here's your prescription, and they're like, cool, where do I pay? Awesome, this is where you pay. Cool.
Definitely, that's the way to do it. I think definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Objections in the role in the purchase. Objections will be specific. So if you notice, you get specific objections like reoccurring. So maybe it's financial, maybe it's the time, maybe it's I'm not motivated, maybe it's I don't know what I'm doing. This is where you're going to start to see that you're going to be attracting 2 to 3 of those objections. Now, you're going to encounter all of them at some point, but you're going to find that you're attracting more of those more than others. And then that's what you can embed into your marketing, into your sales process, to know that that's going to come up so that you can be proactive in overcoming that. And then
that's kind of cool. Actually, I was kind of interested you put a point on that, because conversations I have quite a lot with people on the Facebook group and privately as well, is they'll do these kind of client profiles or these avatar worksheets, and they'll do it once and then they will start using that and they'll start bringing the clients in. But as you mentioned there, like recording the objections and especially that, and finding out what happens over time as you're working with them, is going to save you so much in the long run, because you can use that then to help with your sales message, because it's just going to save you no end of time. And that's going to, I won't say it's kind of like the pain points, but it just means that because you're addressing those objections kind of up front, it means that by the time they even get to that call with you, or by the time they get to that point where they're going to hand over the money, you've done the work. Like that, it's just so much easier for you. I think it's really important to continually kind of do this and research your client, if you like, and understand what your client's doing over time, as well as just at the start Well, that's what I found anyway. I don't know if you agree or not, but that's what I've always found.
No, dude, I'm super passionate about that. The more I can solve that up front, the less I have to be like this, like off the top of the head, like I'm going to overcome your objection. It just ruins the relationship. Like I don't want to do business that way. No. And if I have to force someone to say yes, they don't typically become a good client, which defeats the whole purpose of what I'm even talking about today.
Exactly.
You know? The last one, the role one to purchase. This is like if they're a stay-at-home mom and they have to ask the husband, then that's something you would want to know, right? Or if you, let's say you actually are going to like, you do corporate wellness and you know that the ultimate decision maker is the head of HR. Well, then that's what you need to put in there. And you need to know like who makes the final decision. Now, in a lot of cases, it's the actual person you're talking to, but I share that example because you may have, based on your niche, different people that need to be involved in that process. Mm-hmm. So sounds great, Jonathan. How do I do this, right? So once again, I recommend that you interview your current clients because once again, it's not about just finding anyone who'll give you money. I'm sure you could think off the top of your head. I know I can, at least a couple clients that are like, oh, if I could just get like more of those types, I would be set. Like I'd be going on easy street, right? So what you want to do is you want to interview your best current clients. I mean, your tippy top best, the ones that you want to multiply, right? You can also interview past clients that were great clients, but for whatever reason stopped working with you. Maybe they stopped working because they moved and they're not physically close enough around you. Or maybe something dramatic happened in their life and that happens and they dropped off for that reason. But once again, they were a great client and you would like to replicate that. You can do that as well. The other thing is if you have over 100 clients that have done business with you, maybe not currently, but over the course of X amount of years you've been in business, you can upload that list to Facebook Ads Manager and create what's called a custom audience, and Facebook will do the work for you. It'll go, cool, I'm looking at these 100 people, I'm looking at their behaviors, their habits, their interests, their likes, their dislikes, and it will create another audience that mirrors those people that have already spent money with you in the past. One thing that I thought about right before I got on here that I didn't put on this, like what if you had 0 clients and you're brand new? Mm-hmm. Well, this is where you'd want to do a little bit of research, right? Mm-hmm. So you can obviously, we've got the internet. There's no excuse not to do research in that aspect. But let's say that you want to give someone that would, like, this is the type of person I want to train. Maybe you give them a free session or two in exchange, you get this interview from them mm-hmm. so that you can gather that intelligence, right? There's a couple different ways to do that. The whole point is you just got to get this intelligence on your perfect client because we then take this, we mold it into everything else that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Cool. So how many of these should I do? Once again, I don't want you to go, this sounds awesome, Jonathan. I did 20 of them. I'm like, that's too much. That's way too much. That's too many. That's too many cooks in the kitchen. You're going to ruin the stew. So start off small and build. So typical recommendation is 2 men and 2 women. Now, I have some clients that only train women. Well, then you could do 4 women. The whole point is start with 4, and that will give you enough of a blend of your male and females to be able to see what is connecting. You're getting enough of a wide enough net, but you're not having to spend hours and hours trying to get too much information. This will be a great starting point for you. And as you grow, we can revisit this process whenever, and then you can tweak things as you go. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing is if you do multiple programs, which some people do one-on-one and they do group coaching, or they do online coaching, they do offline coaching, mm-hmm. you're going to want to run this play for each program that you run, and here's why. The person that's attracted to one-on-one coaching may not necessarily be attracted to group coaching. The person who's attracted to an online coach may want nothing to do with an actual live local coach. Mm-hmm. So this is why you want to gather this information for each program so that you can customize that messaging and that offer to that specific client that you know is already looking for that. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not to say that you might not get someone who's one-on-one and then upsell them or cross-sell them to a group or an online. Not saying you can't do that. I've seen that happen a lot, but in terms of your marketing, you want to go after what you already know that they want and who they are. Mm-hmm.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah, definitely makes sense. Cool.
This one's for fun. How do I attract a unicorn, right? So now that I know like who I want, how do I get them to come to me, right? So I'm going to break this up, and this is what I've learned, really going through the digital marketing mentors that I've had and coaches and courses and webinars and a lot of it just personal experience. And this is what has made the most sense to me and was worked best for us and our clients, right? I want to break this up into your audience into 3 different types. You have a cold audience, you have a warm audience, and you have a hot audience. Your cold audience is someone that does not know you yet. They do not trust you. They don't even know if they like you yet. So for example, this is someone that may have liked your Facebook page, right? You just introduced yourself. You shook hands with them. They're still feeling you out. They don't really know. They haven't made up a decision yet. Mm-hmm. Now, as you move into what's a warm audience, this is where they kind of know you, right? They've been following you for a little bit. They're getting a feel for how you post and what you post about, and maybe they've seen videos if you've done those. They trust you somewhat. They go, okay, cool. Like this person's pretty consistent and they seem to be doing this. And okay, I'm starting to trust them a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then they at least like you at this point. They go, cool. This person's solid. I like this person. Your hot audience, this is going to be the people, they feel a bond with you. Like this is your tribe. These are people that comment on everything you do. And they like everything, they share everything, and they messages all the time. This is your fan base, right? And they trust you and they love you, right? Now, I share this with you because we're going to go in the context of like what offer should I make based on the audience? Because the number one mistake I see is people will go to a cold audience, they don't really know you, and go, hey, buy my stuff. And then they wonder why no one buys their stuff. It's like going to the bar at the top of your lungs, like, who wants to come home with me tonight? Like, you're going to get looked at like you're a weirdo and you're going home alone. Like, that's what's happening. Versus, maybe I should buy you a drink first. Hey, let me introduce myself and let's get to know each other a little bit, and then we'll see where it goes, right? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, let's get into like the offer based on the temperature. So if you look under cold, these are some good practices for like a cold audience to start building that know, like, trust. So blog posts, social media updates, any type of videos. Videos are fantastic. Podcast, stories and testimonials. You can do other things. These are just some core ones that are just really great for breaking through and going, let me introduce myself and start to build a relationship with you, right? As you build that relationship, you earn the right to start making warm traffic offers. A warm traffic offer would be like a lead magnet. If you're not sure what a lead magnet is, it's basically giving someone value, something that they want. It could be a fitness cheat sheet. It could be a fitness video series that teaches them something in exchange for their contact information, right? Mm-hmm. Now you have an official, right? Mm-hmm. Once they're a lead, you get them in your funnel. This is going to be where you can offer a flash sale, a low dollar, very entry level ticket item, right? Maybe it's a couple sessions, whatever that is, just to kind of walk them through that relationship. Basically, this is going on a first date with somebody, a first paid date, right? If you do products, you can do a demo. If you have branding videos, these are great to do. Ebooks, a free trial of your program or a free consultation. These are all great offers to give to someone that has opted in and expressed interest in learning more about what you do and possibly becoming a client of yours, right? Now, as they go through this process, what we want to do is obviously turn them into ranting, raving fans. This is your hot traffic. This is someone that's already spent money with you. Maybe they bought your low ticket programs a few times. Maybe they bought a basic coaching program. Your hot traffic is where you're going to offer your high ticket. This is going to be your upsell to other programs that you have. Maybe you're training longer or more often. It's all based on what that is to you. But this is where you've earned the right to go, hey, I've gotten you X result. We've done this. I want to offer you the VIP program. This is the deal of a lifetime. This is that we're going to get married at this point is essentially what we're doing, right? And this is the done for you service. It's like you show up and I do the rest. This is your high value offer. And the reason I share this is it really helps organize like, cool, this person is cold, so I'm going to be in this category with them. This person is in the warm category. We're in this one. okay, cool, this person's ready for the hot traffic, we're going to go with this offer. And when you guys can understand which offer to which audience, that's all it is. It's two things. If I can make the right offer to the right audience, you win. Game over.
That's such a simple way of putting it as well. Right offer, right audience. It's so simple when you put it that way. I like that way of putting it.
Yeah, man. It doesn't have to be complicated. You know, it's just we're just people at the end of the day, just wanting to connect. You know,
Yeah.
So next thing is like I want to ask. These are more like questions I would like you to ask yourself. You don't do it this second, but just let it rattle around the back of your mind, maybe through the rest of the day or the next couple of days, right? So, what is your marketing currently based on? Right? Is it based on what you like, or what your perfect client would like? This is where I've personally made this mistake, and I see a lot of other people make this mistake too, right? They post stuff that they think is cool. They're like, oh, this is awesome, right? But their ideal client is not connecting with it. So it defeats the whole purpose of doing it to begin with. And when you get into like, once they actually check you out, you need to have what's called an attractive character on your profile. This is your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, whatever you're on. And the reason you want to be that is you want to be that type of attractive character that when they actually come to check you out, they're going to be looking to get a feel for who you are. And the goal is to not set off any radar detectors to go, oh, this person's sketching me out, right? Even though you may not be sketchy. You want to have them go, wow, this sounds like a person that I want to follow. This is a person that I want to learn more from, right? So a couple things that ask yourself is, does your profile picture convey you as an authority, but are you relatable at the same time? Now, I'll give you an example. I've got a good friend of mine that I've worked with in the industry for a while now, and he does bodybuilding he does coaching for bodybuilders that want to do like the contest, right? Athletic bikini, all those different things. His profile picture is him just absolutely just shredded on stage, right? That makes total sense for him because he's coaching people that are already in great shape. He's not coaching Mrs. Jones who wants to lose 100 pounds, right? That's like super scared to even step foot in the gym. But if he was going after Mrs. Jones, he would have a massive disconnect in terms of that person. That person would look at his profile and go, oh, hell no, I'm terrified. There's no way I'm meeting with that guy. He's going to destroy me in a workout. He's going to yell at me. All these fears of what it is that working with a trainer would be when that's actually not the case. So I'm not telling you that you can't have selfies with six-pack abs and jet packs and all. I'm not saying you don't do that, but you just need to ask yourself, is your ideal client already there and wanting that? And that's just what and when you get a profile, you're going to find out, right? And that's when you know how to position how you need to convey yourself.
Just quickly with that, a lot of people ask quite a bit about whether to do this on personal profiles or whether to do that through business profiles, and how do you sort of distinguish between the two? What's your opinion on that? If one of your clients was to come to you and say, I don't want to do it on my personal profile.
It's something that we went through. I was like, oh, should we do a personal brand or should we do like a company brand? And we went with a company brand because we're scaling. Like I'm bringing on team members. Like I don't want it to be where like it's the Jonathan show, because it's absolutely not the case. But what we found is that people don't want to buy from companies. They want to buy from other people. So I've had to infuse myself as the voice in the face of the company so that I can build that relationship. So to answer your question, it's yes and no, right? So if you have a company page of what you do, you still need to share who you are, because people don't want to buy from a corporate company. They want to connect with a human being that goes, hey, this is what we're about and this is who we're looking for. That's what they want to connect with. But at the same time, it's tough building a personal brand because it makes it challenging as you go through growth to bring on other people, because now people are attached solely to you and it's hard for you to bring on other people to help service that. So it's a balancing act, to say.
Cool. Makes sense.
Cool. Last key points on this page, like, our social media posts about what you think is cool and valuable versus what your client, we talked about that. One thing to ask yourself is your offer truly unique in the eyes of those you wish to serve? And what I mean by that is your offer based on features and benefits, or is it solving the challenge? So features and benefits is we provide custom workouts, The benefit of that is you're going to have exactly what you need to do based on your goals. We provide a custom meal plan. Same thing. Once again, everybody does that. That doesn't make you special when you do that. Anybody can do that, right? But when you can speak to that unique challenge, like, hey, what our program does is it solely focuses on helping you live a pain-free life to alleviate all of your back pain and joint pains so that you can live the life that you know you're always supposed to live. Which one do you think would get more hits? The
I don't know
feature
which one I'm
benefit?
excited about.
Right. So that's the level of detail with your offer that you need to get to. And when they go, well, how do you get me there? Then you go customized workouts, customized nutrition, fitness software that's available to you 24/7. Like all those things come into play. That's like how we execute it. But you gotta deliver with why, right? Here's the why that we do this first. So once again, questions to ponder over next day or two as you're going through and mulling over this information.
Cool.
Now, the next part is really, do you understand your perfect client's mindset, right? I mean, do you know them inside and out? Like, I mean, to the level of what time do they wake up in the morning? What do they do at lunch? And what time do they go to bed? This is what's going to help you set up your rhythm for your posting. If your ideal client doesn't wake up till noon and you're posting like 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., it doesn't matter because they're not seeing anything you post. So you need to understand what is the rhythm and then what do they go through on a daily basis, right? What are the things that they enjoy? What are the things that they hate? When you can get to that level of detail, which once again, in the client profile will help you do this, it makes it not fair when you market. It's almost when this person opens up their Facebook and they're like, how does he know what I'm doing right now? This is creepy.
I've always had this big, I've always had this big belief that you should almost have a PhD in your ideal client. Like you should be the doctor or that specialist in your ideal client. I think once you've got that, it becomes so much easier. And not just how to market, but also how to develop programs and deliver programs and deliver content.
Absolutely.
Life becomes so much easier.
Absolutely. Yeah, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So this isn't just about how do I sell you and get you here. That's where it starts. The real journey is I've got to deliver that value and relationships so that I can keep you and then multiply you through referrals, right? So it literally goes hand in hand. This can go into your coaching programs. Like literally the client profile can build your whole business if you truly take the time to understand it. So I'm glad you hit on that for me, Ash. Cool. So do you know what they consider cool or valuable? Once again, how do they absorb content? If they like to watch videos, then maybe you shouldn't do blogs. But if they do like to read, maybe a blog's a good avenue. So you got to look at like how do they absorb information so that you now know how you need to create that to go ahead and deliver that to build a relationship with them. And then do you know what they truly want for their life, right? What's most important to them, right? When you have all these things, what it allows you to do is to follow this marketing hack that I'm going to give you. And this is something that I've learned from one of my mentors that just, it made so much sense when he shared it with me. And I want to share with you guys today.
Cool.
What this is it's basically your posting rhythm. And if you follow me, I'm opening up the curtain. This is what I do. So you go, oh, okay, I see what he's doing now. But it works, right? And it's not being sleazy or tricky. I'm being very transparent with this, but it's just a way to easily connect with people to build that relationship. And when you get there, so basically your first post is going to be your motivation. So imagine someone wakes up in the morning. Most people aren't excited for the day. Most people are like, damn, I got to do this job again. I got to get the kids ready. I got to feed the cats, whatever, right? They got to do all these different things they don't want to do. They need to kick in the rear. Get going. You can do this, right? Around lunchtime, they're winding down from the morning hustle and bustle. They're eating lunch and they're just kind of turning their brain off. They're probably like, oh, I still have like 3 or 4 hours of doing this, right? Or I still have X amount of time. Maybe a little keep going, a little nudge like, hey, you got this. Only a few more hours. You're almost there. Your third is people around, like, let's say they work till 5. Let's say it's 3:45 or 4. They're already like, almost time to leave. Almost time to leave. Almost get the fuck out and go home. Can't wait. Gonna watch Game of Thrones. Gonna work out. I got all types of stuff I'm gonna do. Right? Give them some entertainment. Make them laugh. Dude, like, show them something that's gonna be like, that's funny or that's cool. Right? So you can kind of just show them like, hey, I'm relatable as well. Right? Entertain them a little bit. And then your evening is going to be your branding or your direct offer. Let me explain the difference. Branding is sharing what you do and who you've done it for and adding value. A direct offer is asking them to do something, to click here to do this. You want to be careful with how often you're doing the direct post, because it's kind of like watching a TV station that has nothing but commercials. How long would you watch that station if it was nothing but commercials? Probably not very long.
Oh, that's awful.
This is awful. Click on the next one. So the rhythm to get into is every fifth or sixth post, you do a branding. After another 5 or 6, you do a direct offer. It's the 80-20. I'm going to build rapport and value 80%, and I'm going to make an offer 20%. This is what earns the right to ask for that next step. And when you slip that in there, it's how you get more people willing to take action. And also when you put it in the evening, it's when most people are winding down. They're exhausted from making thousands of decisions that day, like brush my teeth, put my pants on, feed the cats, drive to work, get gas, like all these decisions, right? So when you ask them in the evening, they're just, oh, I'm tired. It's easier for them to go, okay, like I don't have to think as hard. I'm just going to do it, right? So that's why you'll see a lot of these companies, they do their offers in the evening because of the psychology that goes in.
That's quite interesting, actually. That is really cool. I've never actually thought of it about that way, but come to think of it, I sign up to most things in the evening. Whether it's a newsletter, whether it's a video series, a challenge, or whatever, like I literally tend to do most of it in the evening, and I've never actually realized that's probably why I should do it in the evening. That's so strange.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
It's why we make bad decisions too. It's why drinking happens in the evening, right? Or all these negative habits too. It's like, I'm tired, make a decision, whatever that is. Hopefully we can help someone make a better decision than turn into a bottle. We can go, hey, let me get you in shape.
Let's start doing this.
Yeah. Right. So just share a little bit of psychology of that. I thought that was super interesting. So it's something we've adopted. So next question, and I already know some of you out there are going to have this because I get this all the time. Jonathan, I don't have the time to make those posts. I get it. I've trained 10, 12 hours a day. I ran clubs with trainers doing 10, 12 hours a day, and I was doing the same amount of time. I get it. It's tough. So here's what you need to do. You start with where you're at. So if you never post online, I don't expect you to go like full, like 200%. And you're like, I'm posting 8 times a day. Like start with 1. Let's get the habit going. And then cool, let's go to 2. And then maybe we'll go to 3 and 4. It's like grabbing a client that's never worked out before and asking them to do 6 days a week. Like, hey, Mr. Jones, can we do like 3 this week for an hour? Just 3. And I promise you in a couple months, you might do 4, and then we'll do 5, and by God, maybe 6. Like we got to build the patterns and the behaviors to move forward. So start where you're at. I hated posting online, but I started at 1, I went to 2 and 3 and 4, and so on and so forth. So it's just behaviors like anything else. Now, in terms of scaling your time, which I do get it, like we literally sell time, like that's our business. We sell our time to X person for X dollar amount. So time is really the biggest issue we all have. There's a couple different platforms that you guys can use that have free versions and paid versions. Buffer, Hootsuite, and Loomly will allow you to schedule your post in advance and automatically select the channels that you want them to go out. I do my marketing the day before of whatever's coming out tomorrow. It takes me 30 minutes. I do my post based on this rhythm. They're set this in, and then they drop all throughout the day, whether I'm there or not. So something like this can dramatically scale your time. It also allows you to be in all the right channels based on what we found out in your client profile. So highly recommend that you look at one of those softwares. I personally use Loomly, but at the end of the day, just find what's comfortable for you though, like as an interface. Because that's what's important, because you're the one that's going to be using this every day.
Cool. Yeah, I used to use Hootsuite for a while, but I moved to Loomly not too long ago. Yeah, it's nice.
Hey, great mind. Great minds think alike.
Exactly.
So we're on the back half. We know who we want. We know how to attract them. How do I sign them up? So this is going to be very overview. Once again, this could be a whole nother conversation. I just want to keep it super over the top. So first, you've got to be able to identify your buyer. Like who's actually ready to buy? And I want to share there's 4 different types of people you will encounter whenever you're having a sales conversation with somebody, right? You're going to have those that are ready. The ready people are the people with the credit card slapped to their forehead that are like, just take my rubies, I'm ready to pay, right? You know, the meme with Fry from Family or from Futurama, it's basically that person. They're coming in. Like you just essentially have to not screw it up by saying or doing something stupid. They're just like, I want a trainer. I want 2 times a week. I want a nutrition plan. I need you to hold me accountable. And my goal is 3 months. It's like, cool. Like, let's do this. Now, the next one is going to be shopping. These people are actively looking for a solution. Now, they don't necessarily have to be looking just at personal training. I've met people that were debating on whether to hire me or the cryo freeze down the street to freeze the fat off, which I'm just like, there's so many things wrong with that statement. There's so many things wrong, man. Like I didn't even know where to start. I was like, I wouldn't want to train you anyway, because you're going to go back to being a bad client. So I just gently removed myself from that conversation. But I share that with you because you're going to have people that are actively looking. These are the people that give the most objections. But I want to give you a little bit of insight on the good news of that. Those that give you the most friction before they buy also tend to be the most loyal because they don't want to go through that process again. They want to stick with you. Now, that isn't an excuse to give bad service, right? I don't tell you that to go, oh, you can beat them with a stick and they'll never leave. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying that those people will most likely turn into lifelong clients if you do a good job with them, right? Because of the friction it took up front versus someone who's ready, easily came in, they're just as easy to leave if the service isn't there, if they find a better deal, right? So keep that in mind when you do have a shopper. I'd rather have a shopper. Now, I'll take readies all day. Don't get me wrong, but I prefer a shopper because I know they'll turn into lifetime if I take care of them, right? Your next category is curious. This is what really used to throw me off is I would get people who would ask me all these questions and I'd be like, oh man, they're so into me. Like they totally want to be my client. Like this would be great. And then I would find out that they're like, oh no, I have no interest in getting a trainer. I'm just asking questions. I was like, what? Like, why did you waste like 2 hours of my time asking me all these questions? Well, the reason was it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with they just want to gather information. They just want to find out more. They're not going to make a decision no matter what today. Their decision making is probably going to happen within the next 3 to 6 months. Versus shoppers are going to make a decision within the next 1 to 2 months. Ready people are like, I want it now. So with the curious people, you don't want to push them aside and go, oh, you're not interested? I don't have time. You don't want to do that. You want to build a relationship with them so that you can continue to add value. And when they are ready and they promote themselves to a shopper or a ready, who do you think they'd come to? They'd probably come to the person that's been there giving them little nuggets of gold going, I'm going to love on you even if you pay me or not. I know one day you're going to be a client, right? So you want to nurture those. And then the dragged, and I'll be frank with you, these are the people that you're confused while you're talking. You're like, how are you here? Like they want nothing to do with what you do. And you're like, I've been baffled. They're like, arms crossed and won't answer the question. I'm just like, what are we doing? He's like, well, my wife told me I have to do this or she's going to divorce me. I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, here's a beer. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm like, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. He's like, just show me the machines. Okay, I'll show you the machines, right? So these people, you want to politely excuse yourself from the conversation because they're not going to do anything with you no matter what you say. So you don't have to blame yourself and go, oh, I'm a terrible salesperson and there's no value. It's not the case at all. It's just people have their different mindsets when they come in. So what I want to share with you is like, what are some of the things that these people say, but I also want to share like how many of these people should you expect? So I want to give you an example. Let's say we threw 100 people at you. I said, here you go, 100 people that are interested in what you do or they opted in, whatever. 30 of those people will be ready. 30 will be shoppers, 30 will be curious, and 10 will be dragged. Those are just rough estimates, right, to give you an idea because you can't control which one you get, right? I can't control that I get all the readies first or I get all the shoppers. Like it's going to be mixed. You might go through a drought of like, dude, I'm getting like 4 drags. Like I hate my life. Like this is terrible, right? But just know that as you go through, you're going to start collecting readies and shoppers, right? The goal in terms of knowing this is being able to identify who is who so that you know who to spend your time with right now with. The rest, like you're curious, having something like a funnel with an email autoresponder or a Facebook group that nurture and build that value, you can have that do the legwork for you so that you're only actually getting on sales consultations with people that have expressed that they're ready or they're shoppers. If you can spend 80% of your time with those people, I promise you'll grow your business.
That's a cool way of doing it. So 80% again, that ratio, that 80-20 ratio, it's the way forward.
80-20, man. So once again, 20% curious, like, let me love on you a little bit. Oh, this person's ready. I got to go spend my time with them. Right? When you're ready, I'll be there. So what do they sound like? Ready sound like, I've had a coach before and I loved it. I love that. Because I'm like, cool, what did you love about that coach? And then when they tell me what they loved about that coach, all I have to do is do what that coach did. It makes it pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
People that go, I need someone to hold me accountable. And here's the thing, we hate being held accountable. So if someone actually is forthcoming about, I need that, I already know that they're interested. So they've already admitted the one thing that most people don't want. Next thing is, I want someone to tell me what to do and I'll do it. I know that they'll sign up 9 out of 10 times if they tell me that. Now, there's tons of other questions. What I'd love for you as you watch this is type in some of those sayings that you hear, and we can play a little game of guess which one they are. Are they ready? Are they curious? Are they shopping? So feel free to do that. It's a little training I used to do with my staff when I was running clubs. Just fun to see which ones we can do. Cool. Now, in terms of the shoppers, they'll ask questions like, how does your program work? How much does your program cost? How many times a week would I need to train with you to get this result? I've done other programs and never really seen the results I've wanted. They're very much more inquisitive. They want to find out specific details because they're trying to make a decision. They haven't made one yet, but they're trying to. So when you hear these questions and you know they're a shopper, you now know that if you can say the right words in the right sequence, kind of like opening up a lock, you know that you have the potential of getting someone as a new client when they start asking these types of questions. Once again, there's tons of other questions. I just want to give you some brief examples. You can go, oh, heard that one. I now know which category you fit into. The curious ones, these are my favorite, right? So what exercises are great for building a booty, right? You get those people. I want a butt. Help me get a butt, right? How much protein should I eat? How do I use the machines? Which I've said that a lot because I've been asked that probably 10,000 times over my career. How long have you been a fitness coach? These are people that are asking for basically you to give them free things to do. And I know my first gut reaction was like, I'm not doing that for free. I've got people who pay me. But as I've shared with you through this whole process is when I just give it away freely and go, here you go, here's some booty building exercises, or here's how much protein, or how you figure it out. When that person goes through that process, and we all know what happens, very rarely do they get the result. Now, I've seen a few people and I will give them the golf clap. I'm like, great job. Like, you took this and you did it. You earned that. Like good hustle. Most people don't execute on it and they don't get the results. So they always end up coming back full circle and going, I guess I just have to hire you. I'm like, that's funny how that works. Let's talk about numbers. Yeah. So that's the mindset to go with that. Cool.
It's so true, isn't it? The whole kind of information isn't really anything without implementation. So unless they actually kind of know how to implement it, they'll do bits of it. And, but when they haven't got the understanding how to implement that, or someone to hold them accountable to implement that, that's where it all seems to fall apart. And I think by giving out that information freely, very quickly, they'll realize that they need help in implementing it. They need that accountability. See it all the time.
Well, that's all that matters. I didn't create the Krebs cycle. I didn't create energy in versus energy out. Just learned it and figured out how to execute it. Right. Yeah. So that's ultimately what we all do as fitness professionals, that we just execute on a very high level, at least personally. And when we can demonstrate that through other people, that's what they're paying for, because the information doesn't matter. It's the execution.
Definitely.
And then dragged. right? And you can see this fun image of this lady over here with her hair over her face and arms crossed. This is what they look like, by the way. Like, this is what they look like when they come in here. They go, just tell me how many times I need to work out a week and I'll be fine. I don't need anything else. Tell me. I don't need someone to stand there with me. I just need to do the exercises. Like, I don't need a babysitter. I don't need a professional spotter, right? I don't want to do an assessment. Just give me a plan, right? That's one of the worst. Like, hey, I'm offering you an hour of my time to work with you and help you, and you won't allow me to even like weigh you or any of that because I have no idea how to help you if I don't know where you're at. So just know when these people say this stuff, they ain't buying from you. They're not. It doesn't matter how good your service is. And if you want to debate that, I'll have a wonderful conversation with you, but I promise you, you're wasting time. You're wasting your time. Give them what they want. Go, cool. Here you go. Bye. Nice meeting you. If you change your mind, let me know. And go back and spend your time on those other people. Those are the people that are going to grow your business. So the last part is now to identify them. What's the actual sales process? So you're going to schedule them, obviously. Your first session, you're going to focus on building rapport and qualifying, right? Making sure that they're a good fit and that they actually want what you offer. This is how you find out what type of buyer they are. From there, if they are ready or a shopper, you invite them to a second presentation, which can be a call or a session. This is where you're going to demonstrate the value of your program. You're going to convey that value through your sales presentation. And obviously, you're going to go for the close. Now, you can do this all in one. It really depends on your business model and whether you train online or offline. This is just the online play that we highly recommend for our clients to follow because it converts very well, right? But once again, it's not the same fit for every person. That's where it would come down more specifically to where you're at, right? So with that being said, when you schedule, you don't just schedule just to go here, get on my calendar. You want to set the intentions and the purpose. Like, be very clear and upfront so that you should convey what they should expect in that first session. We're going to do this. We're going to get to know each other a little bit. We're going to find out a little bit more information about where you're at and where you want to go. And then based on there, if we feel like we're a good fit for one another and you feel like I'm the type of coach that would be a good fit for you, I'll then invite you to the next session where I'll take you through an example of what this program would look like and feel like. When you lay the intention, you're setting them up to qualify themselves to be a buyer. Because someone's going to have one or two reactions to that. They're going to go, oh, no, I have no intention of buying anything. I just want tips. Well, now I know that you're curious. So now we go this route. But if I know that you go, that sounds great, cool. You've just qualified yourself as a shopper or a buyer, right? That is the purpose of that first session. And to let them know before you schedule so that, once again, you're qualifying them. As you go into the actual session, it's about building value and what they'll receive in the first session. Here's what we're going to do. And it's making sure that they have a reason to show up for it, right? It's not an assessment. We're going to create a custom plan for you based off of this, right? You have to speak to that pain point, that unique point that they're looking to solve. Explain the next step if it's a good fit, and then the invitation and the next call. So that's an example of setting up that first session with the right intention so they have a firm understanding of what to expect and then what the next step would look like moving forward.
Makes sense.
So the next one I'll share with you, and this is from training hundreds of staff on this, is qualify on what they say, not what you think. Once again, what did they say versus what you think? And we all judge. Some of you are judging me right now. Some of you may like me, some of you may not. You're making assumptions, and that's cool. We all do it. But you have to judge on what you hear from them, not what you're assuming based on watching and talking to them, right? So the purpose of actually going through this is to identify three things. Are they interested in what you do, right? For example, I've had people that were a 17-year-old girl that was in college and had a kid. And I was like, at first I was like, there's no way that she would sign up. She can't afford this. But I said, Jonathan, don't judge, qualify. I went through, said, are you interested in what we do? She goes, absolutely. I was like, awesome. I went over like the budget range, like here's what it runs. She goes, that sounds good. If I hadn't asked that question, I would have missed the sale because I would have judged her for being a 17-year-old girl and having a kid. That wasn't right of me to do. But that's why I asked the question. She actually signed up and did a 12-week program with us at that time. So I share that with you, that you never know until you ask, right? The next thing is, are they wanting and willing to take action if it's a good fit, right? Get verbal confirmation that like, hey, if we can do what you want and provide it the way that you're looking for, would you want to move forward? It's a simple question to ask, but it sets them up to go, yeah. Then all you have to do is go, cool. I just have to make sure I convey the value in the right way and meet your budget. That's going to be a good fit. Which is the last question, your fitness budget. What is it that you can allocate towards getting a result? And I know this is a tough question for some people to ask, but the way I look at it is there's tons of ways to get the result. You could do Herbalife, you could do Nutrisystem, you could do the ab wheel or ab chair or whatever, or the shake weight. You could hire me. You could do the cryo freeze like that one guy I told you about did. There's so many ways you could do it that all cost money. It all costs money. So don't assume that they don't think that you cost money. That's our limiting mindset. But we do need to find out, like, what's your fitness budget? Like, what is it that you have comfortably put aside that is worth it to you to lose the 20 pounds so that you can get in shape for your wedding or whatever that reason may be? They have it in mind, but we don't get it if we don't ask for it, right? So once you know that, you now know in your closing how to structure your options, if that makes sense, which we're going to get into that here in a second. So when you get into your presentation, you need to present what they want, not what you want, right? What I mean by that is you may have this 10,000 VIP extravagant program, and I'm not telling you to never present something like that. But once again, you need to structure your offers based on your conversation of what they wanted. Because if you're making an offer that's not congruent to the previous conversation, they're going to go, this person wasn't listening to me. This person is just trying to close me. You just lost all the rapport, all of the no like trust in a matter of seconds because you started thinking about you and what you wanted to make. Ain't about you, ain't about us. It's about them at the end of the day, right? So when we structure our offers in that way, not only will more people sign up, but guess what? Once they're a client, you can always go, hey, this is why we have this. We need to upgrade. And then you can upgrade them through your value ladder and your other services that you have, right? So make the plan based on the first conversation. Tie in specific words, right? So if someone says, I want to get rid of the spare tire, which I've heard that, you now have the ability to use that verbiage. Now, once again, if they've never said that and you go, I'm going to help you lose the spare tire, they're going to go, this trainer's a jerk. This trainer said I had a spare tire. So the analogy, the saying goes is, if they say it, it's true. If I say it, it's a lie. And what that saying means is, whenever you can take something that someone specifically has said, it gives you permission to use the same verbiage because you've said that about yourself, right? So use those words and tie them into your presentation so it connects the dots. And they're like, awesome. They now associate your program with eliminating the spare tire or the flabby arms or whatever verbiage that they use, right? And then when you're going over your programs, it's got to be based on the root result of what they want. So like, hey, by doing X, you'll have energy to play longer with your grandkids, whatever that why. You got to always bring it back to what's most important, to why they even showed up in the first place. It's not about features and benefits. It's about that root reason, which goes right back to the client profile in the goal section of what we're covering.
That's so cool. I mean, even that, like literally, I mean, from a closing point of view is awesome, but I always find that this closing kind of sequence that you go through really useful for the coaching as well. So like, for example, if you get 4 or 5 weeks into your coaching program and your client's struggling to stick to the program or not adhering the way you maybe would like them to actually kind of have this conversation in some way again with them is a really good way to kind of bring them back into becoming more adherent to the program, because literally you're assessing why they're doing it. You're using their language again, and that's going to help trigger those emotions to why they signed up in the first place and help them get back to it. So I think not only from a sales point of view is this really, really useful, but from a coaching point of view as well, it's an incredible tool to use, I think.
Oh, yeah, man. Like when you can tie why to anything, it's just a way to communicate. And sales, all sales is, and it's not even about money. It's just really influencing someone to make a decision. So in this case, we're talking about exchanging value for currency, but man, that's really where it begins, because I got to sell you over the next 6 months on like believing in yourself and doing the exercises and stretching and having the right nutrition and all these different things. So literally all these things can be applied to all aspects of your business, which all it is just influencing people. So
Yeah.
that's a great point, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Oh, let me go back. Cool. So when you close, you need to do 3 options, never more. Here is why. Studies have shown that when people are given 3 options, they experience less decision anxiety, right? And I want you to think about, if someone's shown like 5, 6 different programs and they see all of these dollar amounts, do you ever notice that they never look at you or listen? They're just staring at the numbers, and it looks like they're about to crap their pants the whole time. They'll might look up here, they're like, I see all these numbers, it's freaking me out. They completely forgot everything you've talked about. Right? So it's information overload. So when they go, they have to think about it. They actually do. That's a lot of stuff to think about, right? Which we know what happens when they go think about it. Most people don't come back. I'm not saying that nobody comes back. Most of them don't come back, right? So when you do 3 options, the studies have shown that 20% of those people will pick the low option, 60% will pick the middle, and 20% will pick the high. And here's why. When people are looking at those options, the psychology that's going on is, I'm better than the worst, but I don't deserve the best. That's most people. And I think of this when you go to the movie theater, when you're picking your popcorn size and your drink size, like when we saw Avengers, I did the same thing. I was like, I'll get the medium. I'm not good enough for, that's why they do a quarter. They're like, it's a quarter. Wait, just a quarter, right? And then same thing, if you get your car looked at for your tires, there's 3 options. Like, this is a overall business principle. So when you structure your offers, you want to keep that in mind with your 3 options. Now, when you present the 3 options, they need to be in conjunction to their end goal, right? Like, how long is it going to take Mrs. Jones to lose 50 pounds? Let's say 9 months. Let's just put a number out there. For example, on that, 9 months for option 1 would be like, hey, we're going to go a third of the way there. We're going to get jump started. Right? This is to get you going in the right direction. From there, you can go the rest of the way on your own. Or if it makes sense and you're getting results like most of my clients do, you're going to want to continue. We can revisit that option when we get to that point in time, right? So that's your jump start. Your second option is going to be your 2/3. Like, this is 2/3 of the way to the goal, whether that's 9 months, 6 months, whatever. For this example, it's 3 to 6 months would be the example of, like, let's go at least halfway to 2/3 of the way there. Same thing. You can go the rest of the way on your own, or if it makes sense and you're enjoying it, like most likely you will, we'll revisit options when we get to that point in time and adjust your goal in your program. Then your last option is, that's where you put, like, hey, if it makes sense and you want to go like forever, like you're ready to get married, like it makes sense, and you have a long goal, like you want to lose 100 pounds, that's going to take you a year, whether you hire me or not. Just facts, right? So that option would be like 6 to 12 months to give you a range. Once again, it's all based on the prescription and the client of how long that's going to take. But when you tie that into a third, halfway, or 2/3, and all the way, you now know that 20% will get jump started, 60% will do the middle, and 20% will go. That makes sense. I'm in it for the long haul, baby. Let's change my life, right? Because you don't get it if you don't ask for it, right? Once they go into that, it's like, for example, which one of these makes the most sense for what you want or need, Mrs. Jones? And then you have them pick. When people are involved in the process and they get to pick, they're more bought in. They're more bought in, they're more likely to make a decision. It's like a Build-A-Bear, right? If you've ever experienced the Build-A-Bear program, I had a girlfriend, I'm getting old. It's like 15 years ago. And she's like, I want to Build-A-Bear. I was like, fine, I'll get you a Build-A-Bear. I went in there, I was like, what is this going to be cost? Like 30, 40 bucks. I'll get a little bear and she'll be happy. By the time I was done with that bear, Ash, I spent $180 because they upsold me the whole way. Like, he needs a hat. He needs overalls. He needs this. And I was like, sure, whatever. I just kept adding on. And by the end of it, I forked out $180 for a teddy bear. But I already made all those decisions. I'm not going to go back. I was like, fine, like, here's my money, right? So I share that story with you. It's the same thing with picking your fitness program. Like, when I allow you to be interactive and you get to customize how we get there, and I'm just sharing, like, based on what you picked, here's how we get there, your closing percentage is going to go up dramatically. So with that being said, I'm done. Question.
That was awesome. I'm well impressed with that. Especially the Build-A-Bear story. That was incredible. The Build-A-Bear story is definitely the best story I've heard.
Dude,
$100 for a teddy bear. That's awesome. Cool, guys. I mean, if anyone's got any questions, just drop them into the comments. You have to bear with us because I do know there's literally like a 20, 30-second delay between what we're saying and what's actually occurring on Facebook at the moment, which is so amazing. But like, I know Nate, for example, has already said this is gold with some of the stuff he's been putting on the comments in there, which is really cool. I have been writing some stuff down from questions earlier on that have popped in, so we can go back whilst we wait for people to put some questions in the comments about what we've been through. What we've got on here. So we talked about those different kind of the cold, the warm, and the hot. What's your favorite? You had a list of different content there, but what's your favorite type of content? Was that so? Like for the cold, for example, what would be your favorite type?
Oh, okay, I got you.
Those little circles we're talking about.
Let's do this. I want to be able to pull this back up.
For cold, my wife just popped on here and just said, "I want to build a bear now." Not for $180. Yeah, it cost me $180.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was a cheap one too. But so to answer your question, my favorite for cold is I love to do what's called a touch and go. And this is something I used to do when I was actually running fitness clubs. And I would go up and see the member that was clearly lost. And let's say they're doing a lat pull down and they clearly don't know what they're doing. Instead of going up there and telling them they're doing it wrong, which they're going to get defensive, I would ask them like, hey, what are you working on today? And then I go, cool, do you mind if I show you a different way to do that? And then I would coach them and show them. And then at the end, they realize that, wow, that's a lot more effective. And I go, oh, by the way, my name's Jonathan. If you need anything, I'll be in touch. I share that story with you because it's the same way you post online. You got to imagine that you're seeing that fitness, that client or potential client that's kind of struggling. Maybe they're logging their food or they're doing these workouts that like, why are you doing your brother's workout who's a bodybuilder and you lose 100 pounds? Like, you can't tell them directly because you're gonna upset them. But if you go, hey, by the way, just wanted to throw something out there to mix up what you're currently doing. If it makes sense, go ahead and throw it in. By the way, my name's Jonathan. Be in touch soon. So when you can just do that touch and go and add value to them, I promise you they're going to come back and go, this person just gave freely and it made sense. And now they're going to become a follower and now they're absorbing the rest of your content. And there's tons of cool things you can do with Facebook pixels, which that's a whole nother technical conversation where you get people's information, where you can run ads to them in the future. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Just it's about adding value. How do I add value without even asking for anything?
I think I do really like that touch and go kind of approach. It's one of the things that I think to be skipped a lot with a lot of trainers, especially starting out the online world. One of the biggest conversations I have with people, especially when I'm working with people on some of the done for you stuff we do, is just kind of say that there's not much difference between what you do in person and what you do online. The principles are still the same. You don't have to go and overcomplicate it all with pixels and all that kind of stuff in the first, in the off. Just literally what you used to do, you speak to people in the gym, you give them advice. So just do the same thing here. Find out where your clients hang out, like you've talked about already with the client profile, and then get involved where they hang out and just help people out. Be nice, give free advice. Just be a nice person, be a nice human being, and it'll pay back tenfold.
It takes walking in faith a little bit because it's scary because you don't have a guarantee. Like I don't have a guarantee that I'm going to get a return on this. But the more you give, the more you get. The more people you help get what they want, the more you're going to get. From Jim Rohn, one of my favorite thought leaders out there. And it's absolutely true. Like the more people you help, the more you're going to attract that back into what you're doing. Yes, we can talk about systems and all these fancy things that make it easier. But if you're not following the fundamental principles of how this works, then none of it matters. And it's what Ash exactly said. Go out there and give value to people. That's what it's about.
Cool. Awesome. What other thing I've popped in here? So we had, videos. You mentioned videos. Again, actually, we were talking about, you talked about content videos. Live or recorded? And I know why this is asked here because the person doesn't particularly like doing live videos. It's like doing videos full stop, but live or recorded.
It's funny. Lives give me anxiety. Like really? I did my first live through, So first 3-day fitness boot camp I did with one of my collaborating partners. That was my first time going live, and I had knots in my stomach. But it wasn't about how I felt. I know that I have to get out there if I'm going to help people, and I have to be in a channel and a medium that they're going to be able to absorb information and get to know me. Because if they don't know me, I can't help them. So for my thought process is it's just something you have to do, and the way you get better at it is by doing it. It's the same with working out. When you're asking Mrs. Jones to show up and she's like, the gym makes me uncomfortable, but I'm like, you gotta show up, and we got to start with where we're at and build the behavior. And to tie back to your question about should I do live or recorded, I think you do both, right? So you can do a vlog, which I'm starting. You got my whiteboard here. I'm going to be starting up Level Up Wednesdays, where I'm going to have pre-recorded videos that I'm going through trainings, very much like this.
Interesting. I saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah. So got my my big whiteboard back there. And I'm going to be doing some Facebook Lives as well, where I'm just connecting with people as well. So I think it's tying it in, because people want to feel connected. They want to be able to have a conversation with you and get to know you. And it's about that whole process before they decide to do business. And I know for me, I'm going to have people that do business with me. I'm going to have people that don't. That's not why I do it. I do it because I genuinely want to help. I understand the pains of what fitness professionals go through, because I am a fitness professional that's going through the same pain. So it's about giving first and then qualifying as people come in and you attract those people.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, 100%. Just talking about that exactly, you mentioned about getting to know you and all that kind of stuff. So how can people listening now or watching this on the replay a bit later on, how can they get to know you? How can they find out more about you? Where can they connect with you? Just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So I'm on, my main channels are Facebook and Instagram. I do have a LinkedIn, but I'll be quite frank with you, I'm probably not going to be very active on there very much longer. LinkedIn hasn't been it's very toxic culture, to say, in terms of how business is conducted. So Facebook and Instagram. Now, one of the things I wanted to make sure that you guys got is, if everything that I covered with you today, like, man, this sounds awesome, this makes sense, we've actually created a free offer, right, that we've given out there to really help people walk through those first steps. So what we put together is a customized 1-month fitness guide lead magnet. I know that's a mouthful. Essentially what this is it gives you a lead magnet that we know that works highly well, because it's converting for our clients, and we've decided to give that away for free, so that you can take this, you can brand it, you can use this in your sales process. You can use this to present this to potential people to help show them a way to get the results that they want. And we know this lead magnet works because they did a study in 2018 out of 250,000 missed gym leads, and they found that 2/3 of them wanted access to the program and a customized guide. So that's where we base this lead magnet off that data. And that's why we know why it's so effective, why people raise their hand and go, yeah, that makes sense, I want to do that, right? So we're going to give you that lead magnet for free. And I've also attached a training series, which is 4 videos, which goes even more in detail than what I talked about today. That walks you through on how to set it up and how to execute it within your business. And it's all absolutely free. I can attach the link into the group where you can download it. Now, I do need your contact information so I can send you the videos, right? Outside of that, I'll continue to send tips and value along the way. There is an opportunity, if you would like to have a conversation with me one-on-one, I do have those as an opportunity within those emails as well, if it's a good fit and if it makes sense to you. Cool.
That's awesome. And interesting enough, the other question I was going to ask before I mentioned that was, what's your favorite type of lead magnet to convert from cold to warm? But you've just literally said that.
Yeah. So for fitness professionals, it's the customized guide for sure.
Cool. Awesome. Happy days. So yeah, that link, we'll pop it in the comments below this, and then I'll drop it in the header, if you like, of this as well. So I'll drop that in there and tell them if that's cool. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I didn't realize you was going to offer that. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. You can see the goodie bag of this kid holding a Yu-Gi-Oh comic book, courtesy of my wife over here. She thought it was hilarious. I was like, we're going to slap that in there.
Anything with comic books, I'm happy. Anything with comic books, I'm happy.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Awesome. Well, again, thank you very, very much for that. I do appreciate that. That was absolute gold, as literally most people have actually said on here. So yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing everything you've shared with us today. Even though I've seen those slides before, I was not expecting as much as you get there. That's incredible. So thank you so much for sharing all that. And I'm sure everyone here has some great insight. And we don't have to actually put the post up, the link up, because Nate has already done it for us. He's literally got the link and typed it in there. So I'm guessing he's about to sign up to that as well, which is always good. So cheers, Nate. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. It saves me a job.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, as you know, probably John is inside the group. You've probably seen him pop up a few times. I'm sure if you have any other questions, if you're watching the replay to this, then I guess if you tag him in, if you'd like to answer some questions for him, if that's okay. I'm just going to drop it in there. So yeah, just tag him in. If you've got any questions, and either I'll try and help out, or John will try and help out wherever we can, which is awesome. And then I'll be back tomorrow for another live, not to do with sales or anything like that, just literally about how to use the software. We're going to do one of our masterclasses live tomorrow. And then we've got another live on Thursday as well for you. So lots of live this week, which will be really cool. But for now, thank you so much, John, from Smart Shop, which is awesome. And thank you so much for that link as well. And we'll see you guys later on.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Thanks for attending.